Peaches are on the menu now. Y'all see all this food? I harvested this in my little small growing space, including the peaches. Hello everyone and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim and I have been gone from my garden for a week and I've come back and there are some things that need to be harvested that I haven't harvested before. And I only have 2 days to get it all done because I'm going to be out of town for another week. So that's 2 weeks back to back. So I got 2 days to try to get everything done. And today we are focusing on beans, more potatoes, which you see behind me here, and peaches. Now, the one thing that's happening right now, y'all, we are in the middle of a heat wave. It is already 80, what was it? 86 degrees, no, excuse me, 88 degrees at 10:30 in the morning. And so I need to do this quickly because I cannot be in this sun. So we're going to try to do everything that we can do in the shade for this particular video. But we're going to start with peaches. I grow Reliance peaches, and based on everything that I've seen, they start coming in the end of June and they peak in July. But I have one peach tree that's ready. And this is my first year getting peaches. They are a super dark golden color. The red on the peach, from my understanding, is where the sun hits the peach. That's where the red comes from. So, based on my research, if the peaches are a deep golden color and the peaches right next to where it's connected to the tree, if it smells really sweet like a peach, then pretty much your peaches are ready. And they also said if the birds get very interested in it, then your peaches are probably ready. So when I got home yesterday from the airport, I pulled up, I touched one of the peaches and it was soft, not super squishy, but it was soft. So we took 2 peaches off. Here's a picture of those peaches. And y'all, those peaches were delicious. They were so sweet. They were so juicy. Y'all, this tree is ready. And so we are going to go ahead and pick pretty much all of the peaches on this tree today because I'm not going to be here next week. So we had those 2 later in the day. We had another 2. Those were sweet. So we've already had 4 peaches off of this tree. So we're going to pick them all. We're going to take them inside. That way I don't have to worry about the birds taking them. And if they're not quite ripe enough, they can finish ripening inside without the threat of pests taking them away. So we are harvesting peaches for the first time at Kim's Cozy Corner. And this is the 3rd full year that the peach trees have been in place. And this was the first tree to bloom, which I was super excited about. And now we're picking peaches. It looks like there are a couple dozen peaches on this tree, and it didn't even fully bloom. And so, I was thinking, I'll be lucky to get a peach or 2. But y'all, we are eating peaches. The 2 peaches that we took inside, I put them next to some nectarines that we had bought from the grocery store, and my peaches were bigger than the nectarines. So I was feeling pretty confident. And then the taste, oh my goodness, I had juice running everywhere. They were so sweet, so sweet. And so that peach right there, y'all, that peach is ready. It is ready, ready, ready. And I came out here this morning and I found one peach has been picked at by the birds. And so that's what made me decide to let's just go ahead and clean the peaches off of this tree. They're all pretty much ready. And then that way, I don't have to share my peaches with any insects or animals. And then, as well as this peach tree did this year, y'all, next year it should do even better because I didn't have blooms on the whole tree. Only half of the tree bloomed. So next year, the harvest should be even larger. Ooh, that one's nice and soft. That one's gonna be good. Some of these are not shaped very well, but we're gonna pick them anyway. But most of these look perfect. I think I picked all but like 3 peaches. And they seem kind of small, so we will leave those. But y'all look, my first peach harvest ever on my property. And I mean, y'all, they look good. I mean, some of them. Actually, I would say 90% of these look so good. Oh my God. And they smell so good. Y'all, look, I got peaches. Peaches. This is one tree, too. This is only one tree. And that's at least 2 dozen peaches off of this one tree. And I have 2 more trees, but the peaches on those trees are way behind this one. I mean, way behind. I think they bloomed almost three or 4 weeks later, which I thought they weren't going to bloom at all. And they got blooms on them, and there are some small fruit. I'll show you this one right here next to me, but they're not ready. So you can see the limbs are starting to bend over a little bit from the weight of the peaches, but these are very tiny in comparison to what I just picked off of the other tree. So first peach harvest is in, and they smell good. So of course we will not let these go to waste. My family most likely can't eat all of these at one time. So we will preserve them so we don't lose them. But one peach harvest in. Now let's jump over and take care of those beans next. So beans started coming in last week while I was on a business trip. And so my mom came through and she picked the beans. I believe it was on like Wednesday. And all she did was rinse them in nice cool water to keep them nice and plump. And then she put them in the refrigerator. So they didn't eat any of them. And here's a picture of the beans that were picked. And I believe it was a little over a pound for the beans. And that's all that she picked while I was gone. So these are yellow wax beans and purple royal burgundy, I think is what the purple beans are called. And they need to be picked again. I mean, they really need to be picked again. So we're going to pick them again today. And so guess what's for dinner tonight, y'all? We will be having beans, fresh beans for dinner. Now, again, I don't have any green beans yet, but I did replant them and they have germinated. So green beans hopefully will be coming in a few weeks. I put some fencing up to keep the rabbit out of the beans, and that fencing is working throughout the garden. So I do have green beans, pole beans, everything. They're starting to come back now. And that's what we want. I think this is my 3rd year growing wax beans. I didn't even know I liked wax beans. So I found out they were pretty tasty a couple years ago. And so now it's a garden staple. What I like about the wax beans or these yellow beans is that they stay firm. They don't get mushy when I cook them. And that's what I like about them. And they're very prolific too. Now, while I was gone, we're in 95-degree heat pretty much every day. And I had to depend on my family to water for me while I was gone. And there's a couple areas that, they didn't water quite deep enough. So when I got home yesterday, I needed to water, but it was like 97, 98 degrees outside. And that's really just too hot. When it's that hot and the sun is beating down on you, you don't want to water in that kind of weather. if you can help it. So I had to wait till later in the day and get out here and just like really water everything very deeply. And then I got out here again this morning and I watered again heavily, hopefully to make up the difference. You want to try to water as even as possible. But when I'm away, I'm just grateful that somebody's willing to water for me. So some of the potatoes completely dried out. That's why we're going to have a potato harvest. They just couldn't handle that heat and they weren't getting enough water. So they died back prematurely. And if I had tried to water those potatoes will have just split wide open from the lack of water and then too much water. So we're going to harvest those potatoes today. But we got to do everything in a hurry because, y'all, it's hot. And while I was away, I got to see my daughter and I helped her set up her first garden. So you will be able to see the video of that when I get a minute and I have time to actually edit that video. But eventually you will get to see my daughter and her little patio setup that we did on her deck. So I'm going to get to harvesting these beans and I will show you the bean harvest when I am done. Okay, we are ready to do these potatoes and yes, this is just what it looks like. I am sitting in my garage, y'all, because that sun is no joke. So we are going to sit in the garage and do this task. And I'm probably going to have to keep adjusting because that sun is coming. So I'm just going to cut the stems off. Some of these honestly are ready because they're Yukon Gem and they're roughly a 70-day potato. They're considered mid-season, so that would be at least 70 days in ground. And they have been in the ground 70 days. The last video that I did on my potatoes, I thought that they were early and I went back and I double checked. They were not early. They were right on time. And so for Yukon Gold, Yukon Gem, all of those honestly are ready. But my concern with these is that they were not watered evenly while I was gone. That one's even soggy, which might mean that something's rotten underneath, but we will see. Now, this is a Yukon Gem, I believe. The tag is fading, but I think it says Yukon Gem. Get all the straw off the top. I see one potato sitting right on top. Oh, I see two potatoes. I actually cooked some of those potatoes from my last harvest. They were quite tasty. The Yukon Gems were. Very, very tasty potato. And I left them for my family to eat while I was away. You can see in here, there's one already running free on top. And then you can see some more on top. But let's get it turned over. And let's see what we got. I did a double check. There were exactly 3 potatoes in all of these, I think, 7-gallon containers. I don't feel nothing around the outside, but I know I saw some on top. So let's see what we got. My goal this year was to grow larger potatoes. A couple of my bags last year had a lot of potatoes in them, but I didn't like the size. The size was a little small for me. So I figured I would do fewer potatoes to see if I could get larger potatoes this year. These are nice size potatoes so far. There's a couple small ones in here. I will weigh all of the potatoes so you can see all the harvest. Actually, I'm going to weigh everything that you see here today. So you will get to see the weights of everything. There's the seed potato, and it still looks good. Like I could put that seed potato back in the ground. I had someone ask, what do I do with the soil after I harvest my potatoes? And it depends on what I need to grow. And if I need to grow, or if I have, there's a seed potato. Now that one's not so good. If I have more seed potatoes, then I'll put more seed potatoes in that soil. Now you have to amend the soil, but I'll use the soil to grow summer vegetables like squash and beans and things of that nature. But I try to keep something in all of my containers all season long. I like to keep that harvest coming. And this bucket is completely dry, completely. I don't believe my mother was watering deep enough. The whole bottom of this container is, I mean, dry as a bone. There's the third seed potato. Yeah, this one could have went a little longer, but I know the watering wasn't good. It was completely laid over. Yeah, it's so dry. So dry, so dry. That's just a little too dry. One 1.31 pounds. 1.31 pounds. This is also a Yukon Gem. And I even asked my mother, I said, did you water the potatoes? She said, yeah, the ones I could get to. She says, I wasn't going in that jungle back there to water. so, so she said, I sprayed some of them on top, but I wasn't going back there. So this is one of those buckets where I know she didn't go back there. And we'll just see what we got. And this one's heavy. I think I watered this one last night. But there are 3 potatoes in this one as well. And there's one that just pulled up. Look at that. Just pulled the potato right on up. This should be super wet because I think I watered this one. Let me go ahead and get that potato out. Oh, I see potatoes around that one though. Potatoes all around the side there. Let's see what we got. I see potatoes in there. I just got to get to them. There they are. There are the potatoes. Maybe I'll put them right there out the way. Now I can look at this dirt and I can tell that this is ocean forest from Fox Farm. That's the type soil that's in this container. That other container, I didn't really pay attention, but I know this is ocean forest. There's the seed potato. Ocean forest is supposed to hold moisture a little better. Sometimes it holds too much moisture, so you have to be careful with it. Yep. And I split that one wide open when I watered it. That's a fresh split. So even watering is the key. Have to be consistent. I mean, these are nice sized potatoes though. There's the second seed potato. There's a third one in here somewhere. And there it is right there. Ugh, that one's mushy. All right, there's the next one. I'm not gonna pour them out. I'm just gonna get them in the bag and get them weighed up. But nice size. This is what I was looking for. I wanted more larger potatoes versus a whole bunch of baby little potatoes. And it looks like that works. So I may continue to only put 3 potatoes in each container. And I have a ton of containers, so it gives me plenty of room to do that. There are very few real small potatoes this time. I probably could have put 4 potatoes in there, but I think I'm going to stick to the 3. 2.11 pounds. 2.11 pounds. And I don't know if you can read it or not, but I'll just put the text up here as well. 2.11. And I think that's all of my Yukon Gems. The next 2, I know were not ready, but they didn't get watered. And so I know they're going to be very small potatoes in there. So I'm not going in excited. I'm going to go in and be like, if I get anything, that's okay. That's how I'm going to go in. I'm going to go ahead and get some of this dirt out. Okay. This is Kennebec. I believe Kennebec, I can't remember if it's mid-season or a long main potato. I don't remember. I will put it up here and let you know. We are 70, 80. We're about between 80 and 90 days in. I don't remember exactly, but this is Kennebec. Kennebec is a gardener's favorite, is what I hear. I've used to grow it years ago, and I stopped growing the Kennebec, and I went to Lehigh. But I did like the Kennebec. I see one Kennebec on top, so I know there's some in here. It looks like I only put 2 potatoes in here, so it must be a late season potato because I only put 2 in there for all the late season potatoes. I don't see anything on this side. I don't see nothing on that side, and I see where potatoes were trying to grow. If my mother had continued to water these, they would still be growing. So I am not looking for any potatoes in here, to be honest with you. Not a good selection anyway of potatoes. Kennebec is a white potato, white skin, white flesh. And there are a lot of baby ones in here. It was not ready. It's not ready at all. Not ready. Way too early. Way, way, way too early. It was just getting started good. These potatoes would have been huge. That's okay. I have more seed potatoes. We will keep planting. We will make sure we got that year's supply. After this week, I shouldn't have to travel for a while, and I'll be able to manage the watering myself. So I won't lose any more batches. Completely dry. It's like a desert. There's like no water on this at all. At all. Completely stunted. Those would have been my potatoes. But I was just afraid to try to water and they all split open. That's okay. We got one bad one. And it's only really been one bad container. Everything else had something in it. This one did not. I can't tell you the last time I had a bad, like really bad like this. I've always had something. But that's just dust, straight dust. That's okay. We will replant it and we will move on. I'm still going to weigh up my 5 potatoes, 2 potatoes. How many ears over there? I'm going to weigh them up anyway. Let's weigh up our baby potatoes here. And don't get me wrong, we're going to eat. We are going to eat these baby potatoes. I'll boil them in some beans or something. So they are not going to waste. We just didn't get the supply that we should have gotten. 0.3 pounds. 0.3 pounds. 0.3. That's okay. We're going to write it down anyway. And I'm writing it down by the name brand as well, or for the variety as well. And that'll help me decide which varieties I buy seed potatoes for next year. But this is no fault of the potato. This is all human error of them not being watered. This is one of the reasons I try not to travel between the months of June and August for work. But, you know, hey, you got to do what you got to do to keep getting paid, right? So I'm going to get this last container. I hope it's not as bad as this Kennebec one was. All right, in this container, I think I have purple Viking in this container. And I know for a fact this container wasn't watered the entire week, and it was 95 degrees every day. I specifically asked if she watered this container. She says, no, I wasn't going over there. I'm like, okay, all right, that's okay. So these might already be roasted potatoes with the kind of heat we had. They may have already roasted in the container. No need to cook them. But let's see if anything survived. I see one on top there, so we know we got at least one potato. And how many did I put in here? 1, 2. I might have put 5 in this bag. This is a, what, 15? No, this is a 10-gallon grow bag. And purple Viking, there it is right there. It's got purple and pink splotches all over and a white flesh inside. It's actually very good. It is one of my favorite potatoes. So I'm scared to look, but let's see what we got. I believe they're going to be in there. I just believe they're going to be super small is what I'm believing. Wow. Y'all see that dust falling? That's just how dry it is. Just dust falling everywhere. I see some on my side. It won't even hold together, it's so dry. Ooh wee. There's a couple. There's some in there though. And grubs. Ooh, I hate grubs. Yucky, yucky. Ooh, I don't like them. Put you over there. Okay, let's see. What did I say? 5? Ooh, full of grubs. Grubs are everywhere. Okay, y'all, I gotta get the grubs out. I can't, that's disgusting. This is where I usually get my daughter to help me. I don't like bugs. Where did it go? See, they're burying themselves, so I'm gonna mess around and I'm gonna touch them. And y'all gonna see me running. I don't like them. Don't like them. Don't like them. Yuck. I hear chickens love them. I don't have chickens. But potatoes are in here. They're nice and dry. They're not roasted. At least we don't have roasted potatoes. And so far, a decent size. Wow, so many grubs. I'll make sure I have my daughters empty this into the compost so I don't have to deal with the grubs. There's some big ones there. Look. Okay, I'm not mad. Ooh, look at that one. Wow. Look at that one. Nice. Okay, I'm not mad about this one. Other than the grubs. I don't like them grubs. And they're still coming. Okay, y'all. Okay. All right, so 10-gallon bags gets 5 seed potatoes going forward. I will write that down in my garden journal for next year so we'll know what we need to do. Okay, I got peanuts growing too. Yep, I could have had a peanut plant in there and we could have been harvesting some peanuts thanks to my wonderful squirrels and my neighbors. I think that's it. Y'all, Now we got some potatoes, y'all. That's potatoes right there. And they're so dark you might not be able to see them there, but that's a good harvest. Let's weigh them up. And the skins of your potatoes are going to be very fragile when you first harvest them, unless they've already cooked out in the sun like these have. Now, I think this is my best harvest of any container yet this year, I think. It feels quite heavy. Purple Viking, one of my favorite potatoes. I like it better than red potatoes, the Purple Viking. 2.37. 2.37. And that's more than one meal for my family. It's about a meal and a half by itself. Okay, 2.37. Let me write it down. Well, y'all, there it is. There's that harvest. There are the potatoes, the beans, and the peaches. And here are the final weights of everything that I picked today. Of the 4 containers of potatoes, here's the total weight for the potatoes. And in 4 containers, really, you might as well say 3. The 1 container just didn't have anything in it. Purple Viking was the winner by far. For the beans, here's the total weight, and I'm going to add the weight to the beans for the small batch that's inside the house right now. So that's the total beans picked this year. And then my very heavy basket of peaches, there's the total weight for the peaches plus the 4 that we've already picked, because of course I did weigh those too. I want to know roughly how many pounds of food does my family eat a year, and how much am I eating and how much am I giving away at the end of the day. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this harvest in this extremely hot weather. And we're going to call it. We're going to go inside. We're going to cool off, and maybe we'll come back out here later today and do some other things. But at the moment, we need to get out this heat. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will keep these harvests coming. And then very soon you'll see me preserving all of this food as well. So until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out with me, Kim, at Kim's Cozy Corner. See you soon. Bye.